Hate is identified with the desire to control. That's interesting. And it implies that love is not trying to control it.
You cannot say, and you cannot go around telling other people, this person's evil, I know why they did what they did. So there's 4 keys that you have to have in order to welcome the kingdom of heaven into your heart. The first one is, don't assume that you know someone else's motivations. Don't judge their intentions. You can judge actions, but you can never make what's called a spiritual judgment, where you're saying, I know why you did what you did, and I know whether you did it from good or from evil. This is outlined in Matthew 7. Jesus says, do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? I would never do that. How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there is a plank in your own eye?
Let me help you.
I got it. Trust me. You hypocrite. First take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. And this is what Swedenborg adds to that, the inner meaning. No human, this is from Secrets of Heaven, no human, not even an angel, can judge anyone. None but the Lord alone can know a person's inner depths.
God, that's some good humble truth in there. Yeah. So you're sort of sitting on the divine throne and saying, I know what you're up to. You don't even know what you yourself are up to.
Right.
You certainly don't know what's going on with anybody else. Yeah, it's humbling. So what a great insight.
To go around and say, yeah, I know whether you're good or evil, and I know why you did what you did.
Yes.
That's not something that God has asked you to do.
Nope.
And it's not something that God wants you to do. And it's something that closes your heart to the influence of heaven.
If your angels are going, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Who are you to say, oh, you know? Good. Oh, yeah. Oh,
so,
no, you're much smarter than angels, for sure.
It's a frivolous activity. Make civil judgments. Like if you can say,
sure,
I can't be around this person.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that comes out of their mouth, I don't want my kid to hear that.
I'm not going to hire this person to be a babysitter. Yeah. Obviously they have this or that problem.
I'm never going to watch this YouTube show again.
That's right.
These guys are...
No, you got to exercise that prudence. That's right.
Poison to the ears. Do that, but you cannot say, I know, and you cannot go around telling other people, this person's evil. I know why they did what they did. I've got them figured out. Or you go and tell that person that they're evil.
Yeah, they are totally going to hell.
Yeah,
and I know why.
It's going to hell, you are ill-intentioned. Don't do that.
Right.
Not only is it not helpful, like when has that ever been helpful? But
well, thank you for that insight.
We have direct orders from the boss, Jesus Christ. Don't do that. That will block you out of heaven. Swedenborg goes on in Secrets of Heaven. If people are smart, they pay attention. Oh, this is just what we're saying. They pay attention not to another's deeds, but only to the other's intention, from which, through which, and for which the deeds emerge. In fact, if they are wise, they barely even see the deeds, but rather the nature and degree of intention in the deeds. It is the same with offerings. The Lord observes the intention behind them. So even though you can't pass judgment on it, that's what you're trying to look for. Is like, what did this person mean to do well? That's what you're trying to base your life on.
That's right. And if you can't see it, it does seem like there's some indication that we should be putting the best interpretation.
Elsewhere,
because angels do that, right? Like
Swedenborg says that angels, it's so funny. You'd think that the more good you are, the more you can see the evil in people, and the more you would want out of your righteousness to condemn and point out.
I'll tell you what's wrong with that.
On Facebook, what is wrong with that?
That's right.
However, he makes this astonishing claim that he's seen heaven and how it operates and hell and how it operates, that angels, he says, barely even see the evil in people. And when they see it, they put a good interpretation on it.
Yeah. Whereas
hell is oh so eager to sniff out anything evil you've done and condemn you for it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's one of the ways you can tell those different influences in your mind Is it doing that, pick the thing out and then show you how bad it is?
Yeah.
Because if it is, that's not angels.
And all you got to do is look at the way that Jesus lived, because this is God come down into a form we can understand. The story of the woman caught in adultery. It's like
Right.
the Pharisees are trying to sniff out the evil and condemn, whereas the Lord is saying, don't condemn, show mercy.
Show mercy. And look at yourself. If you're without sin, then you go ahead.
Key number 2 to letting the kingdom of heaven inside you. Resist feelings of hateful anger when they rise up. This is something that this is like on your to-do list, your marching orders. You do have a space you've got to tend. It's not in your neighbor's heart, but it's in yours.
Yeah.
This is from Swedenborg's book, Apocalypse Explained, 1017. When we refrain from hatred, reject it, and avoid it as something diabolical. So if we do that, even though we think they were wrong, we refrain from, not from setting proper boundaries, but from the nurturing of hatred in the heart. So if we do that, then love, kindness, and mercy and forgiveness flow into us from the Lord through heaven. Now, for the first time, our endeavors are undertaken with goodwill. We cannot become spiritual until hatred is torn out by its very roots, which is the desire to control other people.
Oh, interesting that hate is identified with the desire to control. That's interesting. And it implies that love would support people in what they're doing. It's not trying to control them. I'm not going to try to make you be this way or something like that. I just celebrate what you're doing, sort of thing. But what an amazing thing. And to think about being able to resist it. Like to think of that hate is trying to get in there. It's trying to plant little hate seeds in your garden and to block it. That's got to be with divine help to be able to do that. But to say, no, rather than sort of, I'm feeling this pushing me this way, and I should hate, and I should go with this hate. Turn around the other way. I go, no, that's poison. I don't want to be hateful. It doesn't matter what the person did. I'm not about hate. I don't want to be hateful. Well, that's not of God.
You're just saying that. Jesus never said that. He never said anything even close to love your enemies.
He wouldn't
say turn the other cheek.
No one would say that.
You kind of lose sight of that. You kind of forget that this is a huge part of the message that Jesus came with, and people have struggled with how do you actually implement that? Because yes, you can't just, if somebody's trying to rob your house, you can't like, come on in,
let me help you. Yeah.
However, the idea that sure, actions are one thing, but intentions are the other, just as we've seen. And if my intention is not this despising and longing for the destruction of someone, that is hatred, that's important for me that's like my job, is to make sure that's not growing in me, even if they're doing what they're doing. That's different marching orders than you'd think you have if you just thought up on yourself. This is God coming in and saying, like, look, I can turn your life around, but you got to change this thing, even though you think it's what you should do. Yeah,
and someone breaking into your house, I'm thinking that there's a sort of hellish attitude to that. It's like, I want to kill this person. I want to hurt them. In fact, killing is too good. There should be some torture element that goes on for a while because I'm so angry about what's happening here or something like that. As opposed to, I need to deal with this. It's not good for society. It's not good for anybody. Nobody wants to live in a world. The thief doesn't want to live in a world where somebody else is going to take their stuff.
Yes.
This is not good for the whole thing. So this needs to be shut down right now.
Yep.
We need to stop this. But I wish no harm to this person. I'm not trying to take revenge or torture them or whatever. We just need to stop this thing because society can't have this in it.
And part of that is because you know why they're doing that. Ultimately, it's because of hell.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't know whether the person is complicit in that. Maybe they have other reasons. But like in a broad sense, evil comes from hell, and hell is trying to get all of us to buy into its way of being. So what we try to do is not give hell the power to do what it does.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ never hated hell when it was going after him.
That's right.
So we can't do the same. Okay. The third key to having the kingdom of heaven opened in you is that if your opinions are attacked, don't respond by attacking the other person's opinions.
Really?
You can stand up for your opinions in a better way.
Wow.
And this comes out of Jesus' words in Matthew.
But I have really good opinions.
It's a crying shame. Your opinions are so great, and they come from you, which is so great. You have heard it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. So Swedenborg, who believed that there's a deep symbolic meaning in every word that's chosen in Scripture.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not just, because couldn't Jesus, he says slap you on one cheek, but it couldn't have been like slap you and boxed one of your ears, you turn the other. Why cheek?
Why cheek?
So
Why not head or slapped you on the back or something else?
The word cheek elsewhere he defines as a perception or comprehension of truth.
Huh.
So this is like what you know. So you can there's a deeper meaning in that command, which is like if somebody attacks what you know, you don't go after what they know. Yeah?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. It's not sort of an equal and opposite response.
It doesn't lead you on the way to heaven. That this is actually an incredibly, as they say, radical way to live your life, which is the trap is, what hell will try to push you into is like, oh, that person just insulted me, so then I get revved up and I insult them back in kind, and then I've won, or then we're even. That probably will feel good in the moment, but ultimately that's not letting you into heaven. That's putting you somewhere, but it's not putting you into heaven.
It's dying to escalate because the other person will just, I better, they came back at me, so I better double it.
Yeah.
Hit them again.
If you were on like that show Shark Tank, where people come on and they have these ideas for their businesses, and there's always people who have a lot of money and they've done business, and they say like, well, with this part of your business, you should really be doing this thing. And because if you go to somebody who's good at it, they're going to have advice that's different from what you're already doing.
Yes, that's right.
So if you think of God being the ultimate, are they the sharks in that? I don't know if that's what a shark, God's the shark who you're coming and saying, well, this is how I'm living my life. When this person said this thing to me and I nailed them because I had done my research and I said this thing. God is saying, guess what? You actually got to do things really differently than that. And you never would have thought of this, but you're no business genius like I am. Listen to what this is from Swedenborg's Apocalypse Explained. People who have depth, as heaven's angels do not want to repay evil with evil. Instead, they forgive it, acting from the goodwill of heaven. So if somebody comes at me with hatred and attacks, I don't want to get them back in the same way that they got me.
Yes.
It's not
right.
that I don't need to stand up for something, but what they're trying to do, if they're trying to come in and humiliate me and tear down something, I can do something, but what I don't feel the urge to do, or what I don't see as the right goal, is to try to do the same thing that they did to me, because that's not heaven. That won't lead me into heaven.
And I love the idea of getting that goodwill from heaven. Like that's where that needs to come from, to have that goodwill. And I just feel like this recipe, I have no idea what your fourth point is, but this recipe is amazing here, because just those three could really change society. It's not that some people aren't already doing these things, but it's a way forward.
Fourth key, find ways to love and respect people that you disagree with.
Impossible.
No, I know. We should skip this one. If you really think it can't be done, Jesus Christ's got a bone to pick with you.
Okay, all right.
This is from Matthew 5. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. Of course, that's what you do.
That's how you do life.
That's like, hello, 1 + 1 = 2. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven.
That's potent. And I have to say, one of the hardest spiritual practices that I've ever done is praying for people when you're in an active situation where you really feel like they've wronged you or threatened your family in some way or something like that. To pray for people is hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to get, because when you pray, I pray that really bad things happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. As long as I can pray that they're crushed, it's like, no problem.
But to really pray for them,
get them good. Get them good, man. Yeah.
I hope you go to the highest heaven. You know, it's hard spiritual work, but I find that it will siphon a better state eventually.
Yeah.
You know, like going back to those prayers, it'll eventually bring me to a different state. It's like, no, I don't. I wish this person well. You know,
I'm telling you, this is God coming in and saying, I got a better strategy than the one. This is a hard, crazy thing for you to hear, but he's saying, you already have heard it said, I love your neighbor and hate your enemies. Meaning that's how the human default runs. That's how your ego wants to run life. But I'm saying, don't get caught up in that noise. Love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. It goes on. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. So it says, try to be like God. And earlier says, if you can do this love your enemies thing, you'll be children of your Father in heaven. It's just like Jesus Christ on the cross and saying, hey, I know these people are literally killing me right now. They don't know what they're doing. I mean, you take it easy on them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. When you think about, just like, I've got an idea, let's have a planet, and then let's put like 8 billion people on it that all have their own autonomy and their different ages and stuff like that. And then, like, what could go wrong? It's amazing to think about. This is going to be terrible. They're all going to kill each other. Yeah. But this is a recipe for how to have a good society, how to not have that thing that kind of sort of automatically by default wants to happen of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and all that.
Because eye for an eye, tooth for tooth is insanity. And it's only there as the default because of hell. Yeah. Because that's what hell feeds into human minds at a massive scale. The way it was supposed to go, and the way God is still telling us to go, is, you don't need to repay evil with evil. And if everyone was running that, evil would just fizzle out. It'd be like leaves that are wet and you try to light them on fire. There's no fuel here. An
eye for an eye was supposed to be a remedy to, okay, one eye, two eyes. A tooth, every tooth in your mouth. That's the way it would. So trying to limit it to only one for one was the first step. But then when we get to an even better place, it's like, forgive, turn the other cheek, let it go.